Air Marshal National Council Zoom interview. My name is Dave Londo, and I am here with the Honorable Mr. Benjamin Druzik.
What's up, Dave? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, sucker? I love the hat.
Thanks, bud. I put it on for you. Thought you'd like it.
Where's the cigar? You'd be straight out of Charlestown with a cigar.
I forgot it. Let me go get it. I'll be right back.
As most of you know, we're in the process of filming a documentary on the Sky Marshal program from its very beginnings here in the United States up until today. And in the course of doing our research for it, we've come across a lot of diamonds in the rough, these stories that we probably won't be able to fit into the documentary, but they have to be told. And today, our guest is directly involved in one of those stories. Today, we're going to have on his former Israeli Airlines LL captain, Ori Bar-Lev. And he was on LL flight 219 back in September of 1970. Back in September 6, 1970, this terrorist group attempted to hijack 4 airplanes. They were successful in hijacking 3. However, Captain Bar-Lev had different plans for them. And what transpired that day on this airplane is just incredible. And we just had to share the story with you. And Captain Bar-Lev is coming to us live from Israel. So his English is very good. His wife will be next to him just in case there's any translation problems, understanding Ben's thick Boston accent. But I think I need my own translator for you, buddy. Sorry.
You know, Dave, I actually read some of his book. And if that's not made into a movie at some point, then someone's doing something wrong. So what I'm saying right now is I'm calling dibs. I want to play him in the movie. And then maybe stunt double for me, Brad Pitt, someone more handsome, someone like that.
Okay,
so does this Zoom have a timestamp? Because I just called dibs first. So take note.
And any of our members that want an autographed copy of his book, reach out to us and we've ordered a bunch of them for you. So I know I'm first in line, and I think Ben's second in line here to get that.
Definitely.
But yeah. Captain Bar-Lev, it's so good. Thank you for coming on here today. We are honored to meet you, sir, and hear your story about Flight 219 and your other stories too. I want to start asking you about, in 1968, in your book, you noted that then that was the first time, I believe, an LL plane was hijacked, and it kind of changed the landscape on how you guys proceeded after that. But you were supposed to be on that flight, weren't you, as a captain?
Yes, I was by the schedule, but from some reason I asked a colleague of mine, Captain Deda Barbanel, to take my flight, and I will take his flight because I have to be at home at a certain day. And he was the one who was hijacked. Otherwise, I would have been the one who being hijacked, because at this time nobody thought about the possibility of hijacking. So the door was not closed, and we were taken by surprise, complete surprise. Whatever you thought about, and eventually the airplane landed in Algeria, and because all the other Arab countries, which the airplane first he flew to Lebanon, hijacked to Lebanon, and then Lebanon refused to accept it. And then Algeria accepted him. And all the passenger were free, I think, in 1 or 2 weeks. The crew was kept there for 3 months, and Israel released few of the terrorists, land terrorists, if you can call them, the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Association, organization, free in order to free the crew. Now, what happened that the first officer, when the man in the cockpit hold a pistol and aim it into the head of Deda Barbanel, he jumped and caught him by hand. So the terrorist free himself and knocked him with the butts of the pistol in the head. So maybe this is why you said. So he was wounded, but not seriously. He was wounded, with the butt of Smith and Wesson. It's a heavy gun. It's a heavy pistol. But there was no any kind of torment and so on and so forth, because you were in Algeria.
Now, Captain,
That's the beginning.
take us back. During this time, was there any security before you got on the plane?
There was a security. For example, they counted to see if at this time they believe that there is no suicidal, it will be ever that somebody will take some bomb with him and blow himself in the aeroplane. Yes. So the kind of security was that they always watch to see if all the men who gave luggage are on board. If there was someone that the luggage was missing or the man was missing, so everything was taking off and checking one by one. But nobody thought that a man will be in hijacking. Actually, hijacking was invented by in the island of Cuba. And for 10 years in America, it was quite common to this hijacking, but never aggressively. You pay some money and then the airplane was free and flown. But this is the same first time with the Barbanel that there was a real hijacking in the air.
Now, Captain, on September 6th of 1970, you were the pilot in command of Flight 219. Can you take us through the day, like start even before you even got to the airport? What was your day like? Can you bring us back to that moment, that day?
I will start at the evening of this day. The evening of this day, I was sitting for a dinner with the air marshal, who this was his third flight only. And he said, you know what, in our security system, which was starting to be established only in 89, actually, after
No, 89. 69.
69, sorry, at about only the half of 69 was only the beginning of it. So there was some kind of system in El Al that when we had an air marshal and they have to sit and the command of them, the command or the training, like FBI, the FBI, Israeli FBI was the one who trained them, that the air marshal have to sit in a certain places, strictly, always, because there were no computer. 2C at the front and 26 as D at the back. So never anybody will sell these seats. But for them, it was, you have to sit only this. And then at the end, we started to call them not by name, but to say, where is the 2C? That was the evening. And he said, there is some lacuna here. He said, in the 707 to go from tourist class to the first class, there is only a vilon. There is only a curtain. You just push it around. And he said, probably they have some kind of information before they are going to hijack. So if they will see in an empty first class, only one man sitting on 2C, 2 rows behind it, you just fire at him and you kill him. So this has to be changed. All right, we're flying now to New York. This flight was in Amsterdam when we had this dinner between us. And later on, when I come back to Lod airport, I will speak with the security people and we'll discuss it. So this is how it started. Now, next day, I had to take a flight which landed in Amsterdam and to fly to New York. Arriving to Amsterdam, I guess it was about 10 a.m. I don't have to tell you that you go to the airplane about 1 hour earlier. And in the middle of all this check, that the man who was, I don't know if you know, I don't know how to announce, the man who was, he was responsible for the security only, not El Al, for the security.
From the Shabak.
From the FBI, or in Hebrew is Shabak, in English is Shabak.
So the
And
Israeli version of the FBI, right? The Israeli
Yes.
version.
Yes. He entered to the cockpit before the passengers came in and says, Uri, I have something that I want to speak with you. Will you get out of your seat? So it was quite uncommon because we have no any kind of private connection like this with this kind of people, because this was not from the El Al company. I said, yeah. I said yes. He says, look, I have 4 suspected people and I'm not sure what to do. Again, I was surprised. This is not my responsibility. This you have to check with the FBI in Israel, not with me. Why he came to me, I don't know. So I asked him, why are they suspected? Say first, if there is people coming to the counter, and there is somebody else bought their tickets, it means there is tickets waiting for them. He is suspected first, and then we start to ask them many questions in order to find out who gave them, who bought these tickets. So he said 2 were first-class passengers, Senegal, how to say, סירים, נו, האנשים לא עניין, את לא יודעת מי היו שם, הסנגלים.
נו, בסדר, 2 סנגלים.
No, they were high level of Senegals. They were working in embassies. They were the ambassador of some Senegalese place. And it says at their passport, the number one finish at 15, and the other one at 16. And I told him, and the other one, they couldn't explain what happened, that tickets are waiting for them. Who bought them? So asking the Senegal, you take away immediately off my flight. He said, no, he says, but they are paying it. First class is very expensive. So why to take them off? So this I'm not taking off. The other 2, you send to the police, Dutch police, with the woman one, and I want a thorough in and out checking of them. And only when they are cleared by the Dutch police, that was Amsterdam, then I will accept them. Because they look like they were European. I mean, the girl was blonde and the man was a bit gingy. You know what gingy? How they call gingy? Okay, he was a little bit of red hair. Reddish, yes. Okay, that's okay.
Oh, he had red hair?
Yes, he had a red hair.
Okay. And so the Dutch police supposedly searched these 2.
Say, okay, check them, and they were cleared. So I didn't have any kind of a legal excuse why to take them off as well, because you see, no reason, and the man comes to me, and for some reason, he couldn't decide or activate his authorities, so I have to accept it. But I was not happy with all these things. It looks to me bad. You mean in Hebrew you say, in my guts, I thought that something is wrong here, although I didn't have any logical explanation to take them off. So I accepted them. When we started to taxi to the takeoff, ahead of us was an airplane of Pan American. And the manager of our company told me on the way that they found a place for the two Congolese one on this flight. So ahead of mine were these two persons sitting in first class as well, the one which I took off the flight.
The two people you removed are now on that Pan Am flight right in front of you.
On Pan American flight. And on taxiing, suddenly the captain said that you want to stop because only now, that was maybe 5 minutes before arriving to the runway, that he has two passengers, which was offloaded from offloaded from the El Al, and they are on his plane, and he wants to check them. So he checked and he says everything is okay. I think at 10 years, I was looking for him to find out because they have bombed this airplane after landing in Cairo. So they had in there Samsonite, you know, in Samsonite, you know, small Samsonite at the shell like this, they had bombs and detonator and so on and so forth. So he just slept them here. I asked him, after 10 years, I found him. I said, how did you check them? So he says, first thing, I didn't check them. My first officer. I found the first officer. How did you check them? He says, oh, I did like this, you know, like guns in the movies. I didn't put in the pocket. I didn't put any kind of attention to this Samsonite at the side. So at this time, I felt though we were taxi, and although I put them off, but then my guts told me something is wrong here. And I asked the air marshal to come to the cockpit because according to my planning, I saw that the first class is empty. Again, the story that he told me, if I'm there and somebody is going to hijack, I am going to be from behind, the first one to be hurt. So I asked him to come to cockpit, but he says, no, FBI doesn't allow me. I have to sit here. I said, no, you have to come to the cockpit. He said, no. And then I said, okay. The commander come to the cockpit. He came to the cockpit and I explained to him. Now I say, something happened, you stand by the door. Because at this time, El Al already took or made, or Boeing did, doors that you can put even a small bomb near the door, and it will stand it from made out of Kevlar. So doors, we have a very strong one, and we have instead of locks, we have some. You have to slide some piece of metal in order to avoid the door to be open. So I told them,
your cockpit door can withstand a small bomb?
Yeah, small one.
Wow.
Grenade. I'm speaking about 707 at this time. I can't tell you what is now. I guess that now it's stronger.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so you ordered the air marshal into the cockpit. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I told him, you stand, you hold I forgot the name in English, the piece of metal that you move them. You move it in order to open. And if you have to, I will tell you when to jump out.
And there was no seat in the cockpit for him, right? He had to stand?
What?
Was there a seat in the cockpit for him, or did he have to stand?
No, you have a seat for the trainee. If you make med training, so behind the captain's seat there is a small seat, but it's too far from the door. I wanted him to be nearby the door. But if you have to action, immediately to action. And even holding, his hand there is something in some place, and just ready to jump out. If there was no reason yet, it was only in my guts all these things. Now in El Al at this time we had a new kind of system that if there is a hijacking or attempted hijacking, the cabats they have very bottoms along the aisle to press, and then we'll know. Maybe it was in operation for about 3 months. As usual, everything electronic, first time, so on and so forth. Every time we had some brrr, brrr, with the light flashing. So eventually we was looking to it like wolf, 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 the story. You don't put attention to it because in you it's wrong. All the time it was wrong.
You can't cry wolf all the time, and that button was going off all the time. Yeah, okay. I gotcha.
So we have the same stories, yeah? Same experience. That the only difference is that we don't have in Israel wolf. But
You don't have wolves in Israel? Come on, you must.
Yes,
no,
really.
Zevi. In the
Yeah,
north.
in the
Okay.
Golan Heights.
In the Golan Heights. Yes, it's far away from here. But it's still Israel, yeah. Sorry. Now we are making a takeoff, normal takeoff after Pan Am at to height of 31,000 feet. At 29,000 feet, suddenly, brr, 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 this wolf. So my flight engineer, my first officer, they says, oh, again. And I said,
false alarm, תגיד.
yeah, this is false alarm.
לא, אתה אמרת.
No,
הם.
the flight engineer and the first officer said it's false alarm.
false.
False alarm. And I said, no, this is hijacking. Why? I don't know. Again, I have this gut feeling all the time that something is wrong here. So immediately I was ready for it because, and then we start to get knocking on the door. And we had so like you have this time now, it's better. You have a small hole that you can look through it, like at home. For the flight engineer, I told him, look out, see what you see. So I can see a man with a gun. I see beyond him a woman with 2 grenades, a man with a gun and grenade, and behind them, I see a woman with 2 grenades. And they are trying to open it. And nothing. And again, and then I was thinking, I have to gain time because there is another air marshal at 26. Oh, yes, that's probably a minute to him to come over. But then I heard the hostess says, look, there is a gun here. How do you call this part?
So they had a gun to the head of the stewardess,
To the temple.
the flight crew?
And he said, you are not going to open the door. I'm going to fire. At this time, the first officer, for some reason, said, open the door. In Annex 2, paragraph B or C, subparagraph 1, it says that the captain has always to take care of his passenger. So now, what is to mean to take care? To be hijacked or vice versa? So I said aloud, we are not going, I understood there is no time now what to do. I have to act immediately. And I have to take the gun from the head of the air hostess that he can't fire anymore. And I have to take the gun from him immediately. So I said first, we are not going to be hijacked. Sit down for the first officer who jumped in order to open the door. And then I remembered some kind of an exercise that we did when I learned to fly in a fighter aeroplane, which is called split S. This one has about negative G1. And by this time, when you have a negative G, it means that the flow of your elevator, if the wire are cut, goes down and you fell down until you reach it. Newton wrote it, I think, his second equation of forces. And this is the best way to do it.
Booster flares, now, now, now! Splitting the throttles? Coming around.
I decided that I would do a role to impress the people. So I came across and did a Shondell. One of my test engineers happened to have his camera with him, and he snapped a picture, which is famous today, with the airplane on its back, the engines up on top of the wing, and the Lake Washington below.
And the second, I have angry grenade in the aeroplane. Instead they explode, there will be holes in the around. So I have to be as far as possible down to 10,000 feet, where the air inside and the air outside will be equalized. So nothing will happen to the aeroplane. And we were noticed about a month before this that Boeing decided to see if the airplane can stand this air grenade and nothing will happen. And they told us, yes, nothing will happen to the airplane, only a hole. That's what Boeing told us. So this exercise of split is did the job.
So just Captain, you decided to put that plane basically in a nosedive. You went from 29,000 feet basically straight down. Is that right?
Do you see my hand?
Yes.
Split is you go up near the stall, you push your leg inside, the aeroplane turned 180 degrees backward, and you just fall down nearly in probably 80 degrees. And the speed, nearly, we came to about probably 84% of the speed of the voice speed, all in 1 minute.
So basically you did what Maverick does in a fighter jet, but you did it in a 707 passenger plane. That's unbelievable. What was going through your head as far as?
It's not so simple. I was on the first group of pilot before the 707. We had an English aeroplane, turboprop. And then we got to 707, and I was on the first group who went to Seattle in order to learn how to fly the 707, to be captains on the 707. And the company, El Al, our company, bought from Boeing 8 hours for each pilot, yes, for each captain. And they paid for this. but I finished it in 6 hours. So then my trainer, Boeing man, which all the time was speaking bravada about this aeroplane, that it's strong, it's like a fighter pilot, that it can stand for 6 positive G, 2 negative G, and so on and so forth, all the time, you know. And then after 6 hours, says, we finish it, what can we do? And I liked aerobatica, and asked him, can I do some aerobatica on this aeroplane? Said yes, but if you don't pass 2 negative G and 5 positive G. Said, okay, I'm going now to do split test. That's okay with you? He didn't know what is it, so I explained. He says, okay, don't pass. So I did it already. So I knew, but again, sometimes your belly work, it was in my system. I knew, and when I was instructor, I did it many times. The only problem was that to take a huge airplane like 707 and to make the exercise. Now I speak with you. It means that I was right, yes.
Yeah, so tell us what happened. So the airplane goes into this dive, and what's happening in the back of the
Airplane
back?
doesn't go to the side. It's turned, it goes like this straight down. And we are increasing the speed. Now-
Captain,
Yes.
I have a question. Before you did that and you put the nose in 80 degrees, did you say something cool to the people in the cockpit? Like, hold on to your seats, partners, something like that?
תגיד
Did
ש-
you,
Tell
what,
me.
did you alert them? Did you tell them?
I'm asking you now. There is pistol at the head of your friend. So now are you going to speak with the passenger, or you are going to take care that they are not
Yeah.
going to kill him?
But did you warn the guys in the cockpit with you that you were going to do that?
Like, the crew was warned I'm going to
Oh,
go
gotcha.
down, and the air marshal was, and I told him, hold strong, don't jump now, jump when I will tell you.
Nice.
Now the passengers were all of them with a seatbelt because we were at 29,000 feet climbing to 31,000. So everybody was, and the passengers with all this exercise, no one was injured, nothing fell out, nothing. Because negative G, you know, it's closed, everything above, and they are with belt. Nothing happened as far as the passenger is concerned. So and then, I don't know, of course, what's going on there, because at this time, the back marshal was nearly coming forward. They fell down. They were lying on the ground. Oh, I forgot to tell you something, but later on, I'll speak it now. Now, when I don't see what's going back. Now, when they approach the door, the steward jumped on one of them, which was with a pistol, naked. So he shot him twice, and he fell down on the floor. And then after a few seconds, he jumped with him again, and he fell down. Now, at this time, the negative G came, so he fell down as well. At this time, my air marshal from the cockpit jumped out, and the air marshal from the back arrived to the place and shot his name was Agrelo. He was American in past. He had American passport. He was born in United States, but his parents from one of the American countries around.
South America.
So this was the position this time. When I was, and then we came to 10,000 feet, and we were over nearly London, and I started to circle because in this descent, I don't know if you will see, if you know what's the meaning of it, it's not. I called the air controller in London and I say, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Clear the area. I'm going to
Land.
to go down. How to say? To when you make a sharp move down, how do you call it in English?
Descent,
Was that?
a sharp descent.
Yes. So he didn't answer me because he was shocked. He never had in his life Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. You know what's Mayday?
Yeah.
But the controller didn't know, probably just when he was in school and he forgot it. So he asked me, what is Mayday? I called him, that was during it. I'm hearing shot. I heard the sound of it. They are trying to hijack me, clear all the area around. So he didn't know what to do. So I asked him, give me what to call, circling area. Yes. Now, I know it because we got the tower, how you call it in English? The tower, all the record is everything which went in at this time. Other aeroplane, my aeroplane, and timing. This took 2.5 minutes.
The dive.
2.5 minutes. All the story which I tell you, 2.5 minutes only. Coming from 29,000 feet to 10,000 feet, took 2.5 minutes. From the time that I say, called Mayday, 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 until the time I reached 10,000 feet, it's 2.5. Probably not any fighter pilots will do it, but that was it. Now I was told that the steward was injured. And then I hear Tel Aviv FBI call me, come back to Israel. At this time, another 3 airplanes was hijacked, and later on, 2 of them, and then the third blown up completely after they were looking for Israeli, taking all the people out. First, they were kept for 2 days on the airplanes. And then you can see in the heat of 40 degrees, probably it's how much is 40 degrees Celsius? Probably at about 100 Fahrenheit. Like this, clothes and food bringing to them, toilets clothes and so on and so forth. Then they let them off. They didn't know what to do with them. And they wanted to get from all around Europe and Israel terrorists back to them. So they called me. I didn't know what happened. Maybe if they told me from Tel Aviv, go back because another 3 airplanes was just hijacked and so on and so forth, my later decision, I will tell you shortly, would have been changed. But this, for some reason, was kept off for me. Now we call a doctor. We heard that the steward was shot. Momentino, favore.
זה השניים, מה שלא ברכה להמון מירז, היו סנגליסט דיפלומט.
My wife remembered me. Senegalese diplomats. That was the first.
The two you kicked off, right? So, yeah, okay, right.
Which blown the aeroplane at Cairo. Just 1 hour later. So I call a doctor, and in an all flight, there is always a doctor. So the doctor comes and asks him to check the steward to tell me if he can hold on back to Tel Aviv, which is about 4.5 hours flying from England now back to Israel. So then through the radio from the other side, the cockpit, I was told that the doctor said that he can hold it. Again, I don't know why. Dr. Uri Bar-Lev, that's me, I'm not a doctor. I said that before I decide, when I'm over London, that if he is injured, to go back to Tel Aviv, I have to see the man. So I opened the door, I went inside. Meanwhile, I heard that one of our stewardesses was conducting a public singing, and all the big alley, all the passengers was singing. They got their life back. Nothing happened. So I'm opening the door. I hear people singing.
So the flight crew
So-
and the passengers are back there. They're so happy that both these hijackers are out of commission. They're actually
think
singing.
so.
What song were they singing? Do you
Oh,
know?
the air hostess, which was doing like this, before a choir, like a choir. And then I see the man lying on the floor of the first class, and he looks white, completely white. This what bothered me.
This
And
is
he
your,
was not in, I didn't see any injury. I didn't see any blood. I just saw a white person who was actually whispering. I will say it louder than he. And he said actually in very low call, Uri,
low voice.
low voice, very low voice, Uri, what it's going to be. So I told him by his name. I called him, don't worry. I will bring you to the hospital in London. So we have decided,
רגע, אתה לא, you didn't mention לילה ח'אלד with the grenade.
yeah, I didn't mention Leila Khaled, that was the other one, the woman with
Grenades.
the grenades. Now the grenades didn't explode. Then later on we checked, so the tip, it was quark. Probably she didn't know it, but probably the detonator didn't work, but all of the three. But she didn't know it because she fainted. And later on, she wrote in her book that 30 people were firing at it on her, and this is why she fainted. But we checked these grenades later on, and we found that it was detonator didn't work. So it was purposely, it was man-made, not by mistake. And on her, there was few passengers lying on her, and the man was laying like, I thought he's killed, but he was hardly injured. Now, when we try beforehand, there was an attack in Switzerland on El Al aeroplane, and the first officer were killed. Was killed. And Mordechai, you know him by name, I guess, Rachamim jumped from the height. The airplane, it was about 3 meters, ran after him and shot him, killed him. And the other one was caught, or other two was caught by the police. And Rachamim was brought to a court that he killed the person. And he went for the judge said about, I'm not sure, about 12 months, I think so. The man was judged for 12 years. But 2 days or 3 days later on, a Swiss aeroplane was hijacked. And it says, either we bomb it or you give us back the man, but you put it just in prison. So eventually, Rachamim was in prison for about 3 to 4 months and was released. The man was released. What?
בגלל קשרים דיפלומטיים.
And because of the diplomatic connection, eventually Rachamim was free after 4 months, but he served more time than the man who killed the first officer. I remember that it's at this time that I have two air marshals. Now, what's going to be when we land in London? At this time, there was no air marshal, only El Al had it. And you are not allowed to have pistols, nothing. So, but there was no way I was going to save a man. Now, suddenly I hear in English, my colleague, another aeroplane, which was supposed to fly from London to Tel Aviv, asking for a start-up permission. So I told him, I recognize his voice. I told him, change to company frequency. And I told him in Hebrew what's going on. And I told him, look, probably in the airport, there is going to be a big balagan. Balagan, it's meaning everybody is going to run the air fire and the fire extinguishing and police and people, or curious people. So I'm going to pass nearby you where you park. And I'm going to open my, in the aeroplane, in 707, there is a place which is called down below the cockpit, lower 41. 41 is the plate, and this is the number. And this was for mechanics, where the last minute there's something wrong, so you can open and you can climb through and inside this.
All right, wait, hold up right there for a second, Kevin, because I have to paint this picture really good here. So you're coming down, landing in London because your crew member is shot pretty bad and he needs medical attention quickly. And you're worried that the sky marshals on board your airplane are going to, the same thing's going to happen to them that happened to this Israeli sky marshal in Switzerland that did his job. He was actually charged with a crime. So you're landing and you're calling the other LL captain saying, I'm going to have my two air marshals escape from my plane and then get on your plane. Is that what's happening?
Yes.
No, I told your lower 41 will be open, not that somebody will see that they are going through the stairs. They jumped from my lower 41 to his lower 41. And then it was closed. So the police from, I forgot something. The police from around didn't see anything. And later on, they were looking for them, and we were for a long time in an interrogation.
And you asked the manager to bring tickets.
Yes. And immediately, I even asked our station manager to make 2 tickets for them. So when I knew that the police will come to the other airplane and start to search for people without tickets. So in all this balagan, which I told you that is this order which was at the airport, and I forgot something to tell you about this. And the police didn't put attention to the other airplane. They never imagined that they have to look. So the station manager jumped through the stairs like he has something to do with the airplane and gave them the tickets. Now, beforehand. Now I'm standing, I wanted to go back to Tel Aviv because I have fuel to New York, so I can go to Tel Aviv backward. I thought that the captain of airplane is like a captain in the sea. He decides what to do. So we take the person which was injured, ambulance came, and it takes him to hospital, which was very near, 5 minutes, 10 minutes from the airport. And later on, I was told by them that he had only 5 minutes of life because one of the bullets opened at a main artery and he had an internal bleeding. That's why he was white and why we didn't see any kind of blood. So I saved actually his life. Now, I see that he was taken. Now, Agrero is still in my place, in my airplane. And Ardela Khalad, the other girl, yes, she's still with us there. Only the air marshals and the crew on top. And I wanted now to close the door. And then a police officer too came and says, no, no, don't close. We are going on board to take air marshals. And I said, no, but I am the captain. I want to go to Tel Aviv now. So they took a pistol, showed a police, but like, I don't know if you see it. The door is open. I'm standing there in order to close it, yes? And then up, two police and one put
Aim
it to me and says, you are now on Great Britain soil. Move. So I moved. What can I do? And then they entered to the cabin and they took the crew out, and Agrelo, that was his name, and Leila Khaled off with their car to somewhere. I know where, and yes, eventually, it's a nice story. And when I went down, the commander of all the machines, you know, fire protection, so on and so forth, come to me. Oh, no, sorry. I was really pissed off with this because I thought I'm a captain. So I took off my epaulette, only with white shirt. I went down. As I went down, this man comes to me and asks me, did you know what happened just now with the El Al plane? Ask him what? So it was hijacking. The captain killed and the first officer badly injured. So I look at him and says, so who landed? I said, the air hostess. Now, later on, there was airport 1 and airport 2, because I got permission I gave permission to the movie makers in Hollywood to make 2 sessions. One is because of, I don't know what, that the girl or the air hostess land with, you know, instruction from the tower, she make a landing with the 707. But never mind. So now, but I hear now that I was killed. In the bus who took the crew to interrogation area, we hear BBC. And BBC at this time was supposed to be one of the best, you know, radio in the world. Always everything is checked out and so on and so forth. That was the pride of the English people, the BBC. British broadcast something.
CBS.
CBS.
No, BBC.
No, BBC. Anyhow, and there I hear that the captain was killed. And my brother was in New York. He was consul at this time, and we were supposed to meet at the airport. So I knew that all this is already. I know that there was another airplane hijacked, another 3, and so on. That everybody is listening to the radio. So suddenly you will hear from the BBC or from American NBC that you know, we just heard at the BBC that the captain of this flight was killed. So when I entered the room for the interrogation, I told the officer there, sorry, can I call New York now, because your BBC just say that I'm dead. And you know, here I am, and I have to notice and to tell my brother there that I'm not killed.
But I have to ask you a question. So here you are, you're on the plane. There's no air marshals on the plane anymore, but you have people that have been shot. You have bullets, you have bullet casings on the plane. You have 2 grenades. Did the London police ask you what happened? Like, how did
3 grenades? What?
Did they ask you who shot these people?
Of course they asked me.
What did you say?
Look, on the bus going to this place, which is the interrogation place, maybe it's 5 minutes. So I told my crew, look, you are going to be asked, where is the pistols of them? Where are the air marshals? They say, you just said we don't know. But we don't know.
They disappeared.
But they kept asking them. Me, they asked maybe 2 or 3, and I say, sorry, I don't know. what could they do? Think of it. What can they do? We don't know. And I even told my crew, maybe they have people there who speak Hebrew. Don't say a word about it. Nothing. Don't mention them in between you. Maybe they are listening. I don't know. You don't know, and that's it. You sit. Wait.
Now, didn't they threaten to charge you with being an accessory to the shootings?
Yeah. When I was in Tel Aviv already.
Oh,
Accessory. That's take time. No. If they said like this, police can't say something like this. This is a grander thing than for them. No. That was about a week after I was in Israel already. Now, the air marshals were lucky. My crew member or the boy who was shot, it's okay in hospital. The only one who was fucked is me, because I had to fight back when I came back to Israel with the FBI. 7 hours after I gave big and micro a big international, I call it. There was writers from all around the world in the big press conference, but this was done in a very big place, which was built for the 747 already. The hangar, what was a huge one. And where there was a press conference, because then only I realized from there what happened all around, and later on I checked myself. And when I come back home, it's probably 12 or 1 o'clock at night. And at 7 o'clock, the manager of El Al told me the FBI wants to fire you because you moved the position of the air marshal from the place that they say to another place.
so bringing them in the cockpit, they wanted to fire you over that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not only one, and second, this they have a legal point of view, because I broke their order. To my mind, I was the commander of the airplane. There's no order of them or not. I don't know them. I'm the commander. I decide what to do. And back, they wanted me probably back because of the hijacking of the other airplane.
And they want Laila Khaled.
And Laila Khaled, who hijacked already TWA a year earlier. Yes, it's 69. But I didn't know. They had not even told me that these sentences came from them. It was shh. So, but I recognized the voice of the man who worked in El Al. He was a radio operator in El Al. That's how I knew from where it comes. But at the beginning, I could think that this is El Al calling me, not the but when Shabak, but not when they all the time insisted. At the end, before my descent, I shut the radio with them, and that's it. So I didn't let them interfere with come back. I'm landing in London, and that's it. And yes, more.
Yeah. So Israel was mad because the female hijacker, they wanted her bad, and they knew Israel would keep her. But you decided not to because you had your flight crew member who was going to die if you did, right? So you were in a really tough spot.
But I didn't know about the other airplane. Maybe if had I known, maybe I would have. I don't believe that I will give this boy to die. I don't believe it. But maybe, I don't know. But I have no idea. Nothing.
Wow.
But the main thing is that I told you how I remain in Milan, no?
לא, אל תתכנס לזה. למה?
Did I tell you?
So no, you remained as a captain in El Al. Go ahead.
Then I'm not going to details, but all the power of the FBI was put on me, threatening me, telling me that the English authority wants me back to London because of what you said before, how you said it, accessory for killing a person who was American. And telling me that Pan American is suing me and El Al for $150 million, the price of a 747.
Okay, wait. So Pan Am is gonna sue you because you kicked off 2 terrorists off your plane and they went on,
Correct.
and Pan Am didn't see it coming and they lost the plane because of it. So you're responsible for that? Captain, I'll tell you
I
right now,
was the one.
the Air Marshal National Council represents you in all these matters, by the way. You'll win. That's insane. I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, so they're gonna sue you for $150 million. London's threatening to charge you with a
In the
crime.
company, no. Then eventually, and there was, never mind. My colleague came to me and say, if you don't, I forgot. Eventually, the manager of El Al said that I think I have some compromise. They will be off only for 2 years, and then you will restart. And because you're a good pilot, for probably in short time, you'll be captain again. And okay, this clear, because otherwise, they tell me, the FBI, they are not going to give me air marshals. Your position, FBI, not El Al training them, somebody else. And he said, if you not fire him, no air marshals. I don't know how is it in the state.
Wow.
Now, so my colleagues coming to my place, which is about 30 or 45 kilometers, about 30 miles from the center of where the airport is, and most of the people lives at this time, pilots, trying to convince me to give in. And the service says, otherwise we can't fly without air marshals because of security. And I tell them, what about my kids? I have 3. If I'm not flying, who is going to pay me? Anyway, I'm telling you that the pressure was built and built and built. And after about, otherwise, they did something very, I don't know how to say it. One day, in this process, let's say the end of 1 week, they call me and they say, next day, no, in 3 days, you have to go to a place with like a auditorium in a cinema to be interrogated there. And I called one of the government and said, don't go, take or take with you a lawyer. But I didn't know any lawyer. I didn't know anything, so I go there. I went there, and I see all the theater, all this cinema is full with people which I don't know who they are. Whether they are air marshals, security, I don't know. And in the up, there is some kind of
Stage.
where
On
the
the
stage is, yes, sitting in a circle, few persons, and in the middle sit a man with a big book like this. No, I'm not this, yes. And then they ask me, first question, why did you descend in this and this speed and not in this speed according to the law? That they were looking for something according to the requirement of Boeing in such a case. And then I explode. What do you mean in such a case? Hijacking. Is any one of you here around? Did you ever hijacked? Do you know what to do in hijack? I don't know who is the people. Is one of you were hijacking anytime? Is one of you knows what to do? Is one of you giving lectures how to act? What is all this? Shaming, and I went out.
Good for you.
Captain, So did you ever talk to the flight attendant again? The boy whose life you saved there?
Yes, of course. No, with him it's a living. He had some kind of bad memory after all this, and in his memory, he killed the hijacker and the girl. Anyway, and he still have
Save the plane.
everything is got bamboozled. Now,
תגיד מילים שהם לא מבינים.
yeah, I know. Now I wanted to tell you the real trick, how I got out of it. Now, when I thought the pressure is this, I call our prime minister, like your נשיא, like your
זה
president.
כבר מיותר כל הקטע.
You call the
הזה.
president of Israel,
There was not president in Israel. They have prime minister.
prime minister? You call the
Oh,
prime minister?
we have a president. The president
אורי,
is
אתה
just.
מסתבך.
אני לא
חבל,
מסתבך.
כן מסתבך.
Wait, you have his number just handy? You,
I got the number of prime minister. Yeah, her name. She was a woman, Golda Meir, and I told her. Now I exhorted her. I told her, look, if you're not going to hear my point of view, then I'm going to publish all this in the world. In the world, they think that I'm a hero. Nobody did it until today, and no one after it. And that's what you do to him. 7 hours after this, you want to fire him. In 3 days, I was called to the government. They accepted everything which I said. And for USA Air Marshal, it's important that all the law of Israel, all the law, was changed and published in the book, like a law was changed that the captain is always the commander, not FBI, no one else. He is the man, that he is the commander. Second, the government is going to secure the air marshals or any other coup who are going to do something like as the British wanted me to be London as part of a killing somebody. They are responsible for lawyers, whatever it's needed. I mean, as it's written there, they have to give everything which they can for the security and comfort of these people. Third, all the coup has to do whatever is necessary by by instinct, not by until somebody command them against the air terror. Third, all Israeli citizens has to do the same if they want to. But if they are going to do it, they are going to be protected by these terms that they are going, if they are not in Tel Aviv, Israel, they are going to get everything which it is. That's about. So in this action, which took me a lot of courage and fright and whatever you like, that was a awful 2 weeks. I saved a life. I saved the life of the passengers. We don't know where we would have been, the Israeli one, where would they be hijacked and what will happen to them. I changed the law and all these things of air marshals. Crew was reorganized in order to be cooperative. I don't know if you at the flight knows or the captain knows your name. In Israel, you have to see the person, that in case something happens, you know where he is, and vice versa. So we have to say hello, shalom, thank you, and that's it. That's something to think about. I don't know how it is in America.
Wow. That's amazing. I love this story. And I know we're kind of up against the clock here. Thank you so much for telling your story to us, Captain. We love you. That story is just phenomenal. And we're going to order a bunch of your books as soon as they're in English. I know Anastasia and I already talked about this, but
Thank you.
Yeah, and we're gonna offer it out to our
Has
members.
everything. She is the address. Yeah.
Is the name of the book, We Will Not Be Hijacked? Or what's the name of the book?
The book in Hebrew, we are not going to be hijacked.
Yeah, okay,
I forgot.
English.
I forgot one thing,
okay.
לא, לא צריך.
יונה. אל תעשי זאת. The law in Annex 2, after 45 years of my fighting them, 45 years was changed that the captain should not do whatever the hijacker wants. He has to fight them. But they left the end of the sentence, but to take care of the welfare of the passengers. Now, if you can connect these two things, I don't know how. I mean, to fight and to take care of the welfare of the passengers. But never mind. But they mail it to me after 45 years.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that is a,
The name of the book in English will be Against All Odds.
love it. Love it. And for all our members out there that are watching, we're gonna order a bunch of them and we're gonna give you the information to order your own too. But the captain's already agreed to give us a bunch of autographed copies, which we're thrilled about. Captain, thank
Okay.
you so much for joining us today. Anastasia, I'll be in touch. Mrs.
Thank-
Bar-Lev, thank you so much for everything you did to help us today. You're awesome too.
תודה.
All right, we'll see you all next time.
I let